All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to give it about 1 minute for folks to jump on in. We are going to be recording today's webinar so that we can place it onto our YouTube channel so that this information can be shared more broadly. So we'll give it 1 more minute for some folks to jump on in. And thank you for joining us this afternoon. Right, we've gone for about 1 minute, so let's go ahead and get started for today's presentation. I want to introduce myself and then I'll let my colleagues introduce themselves. My name is Chelsea Lafferty. I am the Director of Refugee Services at Catholic Charities of Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton counties, or formerly known as St. Vincent Catholic Charities.
And
Veronica?
my name is Veronica Parsamova, and I'm Community Outreach Coordinator for Refugee Services Program.
My name is Julia Card, and I'm one of the lawyers in the Immigration Law Clinic.
Thank you. So the agenda for today, we're going to go over what Catholic Charities is in the Lansing community, what Refugee Services is, what Immigration Law Clinic is, who we serve, what we do, and how you can support this work that we're engaged in. The learning objective for today is that we're going to walk away from today's webinar knowing what the Immigration Law Clinic does, what Refugee Services Department does, and you will also leave knowing the differing statuses and processes of being a newcomer in the U.S.
And like our director Chelsea mentioned, we are a very old and at the same time very new organization because Catholic Charities is the result of merger of two Catholic agencies in the town. Well-known St. Vincent Catholic Charities and very well-known Cristo Rey Community Center. We all hope that this merger will bring a great synergy and let us better serve our clients. And let me start with Refugee Services Program. So officially, Refugee Services Program opened in 1979. It doesn't mean that our agency was not helping refugees before that. Since 1948, it was supporting people who were fleeing from Europe after World War II and providing basic services to them. But the official start of government program for refugee services started in 1975 after the end of Vietnam War. In 1975, it was opened, and in 1979, we were one of the first resettlement agencies in the country. For the first 5 years, our program mostly served Vietnamese refugees. But later on, after the fall of socialist system in Europe, after the civil war were raging some countries in Africa, in Asia, in Central America, after millions of people were persecuted on the basis of their ethnicity, of their religion, we started serving all those populations. Our staff has grown from initially just 3 employees to currently 42, and we are still growing and hopefully will be growing in future. Also, our program has never focused on some specific populations and on certain languages. That's why we hire people who speak dozens of languages. And since our beginning, we resettled almost 18,000 refugees in Lansing area. And Julia will probably cover what Immigration Law Clinic program is.
Yes, so I represent the Immigration Law Clinic. We are a small but mighty department. We have 3 full-time attorneys on staff, 2 part-time legal assistants, and 1 case manager. Since I have been with the law clinic, our staff has grown. We used to just have 2 full-time attorneys and 2 part-time legal assistants, so we're happy to say that we're a growing department and can better serve the community.
So let's get into a little bit about the folks that we do serve. The folks that Refugee Services serves is different than the folks that Immigration Law Clinic serve, but they do intercede and overlap in many areas as well. First off, with Refugee Services, we're serving folks who are fleeing displacement due to persecution, war, natural disaster, what have you. The situation at hand via UNHCR data, about 110 million folks are forcibly displaced in the world. Of that 110 million, 36.4 million are refugees. To get refugee status, you go through a process with the UNHCR, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. Of that 36.4 million, about 75% are hosted in low to middle income countries. And about 1.9 million children are born into the refugee crisis. And all of this data is from October 24th, 2023. I preface that because the data right now would look drastically different due to current conflicts that we're seeing in the world. But the UNHCR has not released updated data, but I believe they are very soon. So who do we resettle within refugee services? So we do follow the UNHCR's definition for who a refugee is. A refugee is someone who has been forced to flee his or her country because of persecution, war, or violence. It is a refugee who has a well-founded fear of persecution due to their race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. But that's a refugee. We also serve folks who are special immigration visa holders. So those might be folks who worked with the US military in Afghanistan or in Iraq. It could be an asylee. So that is someone who has been granted asylee status within the United States. I believe Julia will talk a little bit more about that process and what that looks like. It could be victims of trafficking. This can be labor trafficking or other forms of trafficking. It is any ORR eligible population. We have our initial resettlement program where we help set up folks from overseas to integrate and feel included into the community, but we also have some additional wraparound services for those folks who come in varying pathways to the US. UNHCR says that there are 3 durable solutions to that refugee crisis. Remember that 36.4 million folks who are refugees within the world right now. And again, I preface that data is from October of 2023. So that is old data. That data would look drastically different today due to world situations currently. So voluntary repatriation, which is refugees voluntarily returning if it is safe to their country of origin. This would be someone who has fled international borders down to South Africa, and there has become stability and safety in their country of origin, which might be the Democratic Republic of Congo, maybe Southern Congo. Local integration, the second durable solution. This process is ultimately permanent resettlement of that particular refugee in the country that they sought asylum. So that could be someone who flees Somalia due to persecution due to a political group, and then they are integrated into, let's say, Kenya and varying refugee camps or into the community, and they're staying there they're staying there long term. They're locally integrated into that community. And then there is resettlement. Resettlement is the third durable solution. Refugees are transferred from the country where they sought asylum, so let's say in South Africa they sought asylum, to a third country willing to resettle them. That process is they're identified by UNHCR for that process, and they then go through an extensive clearance process to that particular country that they're identified for. So this could be someone who's identified to travel to Australia and be resettled in Australia. This process can take up to 20 years. It takes at least usually 2. In the first half of 2023, only about 463,000 refugees returned home, and only about 59,000 were resettled in different resettling countries. Some of the countries that do resettlement are the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, the Netherlands, just to name a few of them. The US. So first they have that persecution in their country of origin. They flee to another country where they seek asylum, and they could be hosted in refugee camps or within varying communities within the country. I had experience working in South Africa, so I'm more familiar with social integration into urban settings of refugees rather than the refugee camp situation. They're then interviewed by the United Nations and granted refugee status. If they have well-founded fear of persecution and meet all of UNHCR's criteria, they may be identified for that third country resettlement. The resettlement process from there, there's a country selection process, there's a 14-step security clearance process, medical screenings, cultural orientation, ESL classes, again, if they're being resettled into a country where English is the primary language. The biodata is then created, and that biodata is what is utilized on the state side to place that particular individual in a community that is well situated to welcome and integrate that community, that individual. They're assigned a voluntary organization or a VOLEG. There are 10 national VOLEGs within the United States. From that, different VOLEGs have local affiliates. St. Vincent or Catholic Charities of Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton counties. We are a affiliate office for the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops as a resettlement site in Lansing, Michigan. That whole process from getting that selection to a country to being identified for a particular local community takes usually at least 2 years. It is a long process.
So for the Immigration Law Clinic, we serve vulnerable populations. We serve anyone who lives within the state of Michigan and has an immigration-related need. We serve people regardless of their immigration status or their immigration history. In the last 8 years, about 78% of our clients have been a refugee or an asylum seeker at some point in their immigration history. Refugee and asylee, is there a difference? There is in how a person acquires the status. So a person who is a refugee applies for protection while they're overseas and then enters the United States as a refugee. An asylee requests protection and is granted that asylum within the United States. So they enter the United States and then ask for protection or ask for that status, but it's all based around that well-founded fear of persecution for reasons of race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or member of a particular social group. And so we will serve these populations as well as anyone who is looking for immigration assistance in a variety of ways. And as you can see listed on the slide, we have served clients from over 100 countries, and that you can see the long list of countries where a lot of our clients have come from.
Moving on to, what we do within Refugee Services and Immigration Law Clinic. And I really want to take a second to underscore what Julia shared, particularly in regards to this point. So refugees and asylees, is there a difference? A person who is a refugee is also seeking protection, but from overseas. Someone who is seeking asylum here in the United States, they're still seeking asylum. Both of those particular individuals are seeking safety, and safety from that is not for me or you to determine. That is for the immigration system or UNHCR to determine. Um, so what do we do? And that's really important in this process. We are a program, so the refugee resettlement process and program within the United States. It is a U.S. government program. Refugee resettlement is a national program that usually receives bipartisan support. It was started in 1970s, formalized by the Refugee Resettlement Act of 1980. The president is who determines the number of folks entered through the refugee resettlement process, and that's the U.S. RAP program. At this current fiscal year, and we do follow the federal fiscal year, so October through the end of September, the capacity, the level is set as 125,000. The funding for refugee resettlement, the initial resettlement process, is funded by the Department of State, as well as the Department of Health and Human Services, ORR, or Office of Refugee Resettlement, provides that wraparound services. It's employment services, post-resettlement services. But there's also some additional state-funded money that goes into that, local grants, and individual contributions. The refugee resettlement process is a cost share model. So as an agency that does resettlement on the local level, we don't just get all of our funding from the federal government. We also have to, do that fundraising to match those funds. So it can be in kind, it can be volunteer hours, and Veronica will get a little bit more into that later. But this isn't just something that is fully funded by the federal government. We got to hustle and find those funds elsewhere as well. So moving on to, STVCC and our arrival data for the last 10 or so years, you'll see here the ebb and flow of refugees who are allocated through the refugee resettlement process from overseas, and the entry and how many folks, particularly each year, came through. At one point, we were at record highs at 776 just in Lansing, and that was in 2016. And then some things had changed, and we've been slowly inching back up there, with this year hoping to resettle 500, and not hoping, we will resettle 500 in 2024. So we're excited about that opportunity. Role of the resettlement agency in St. Vincent or Catholic Charities of Ingham and Eaton Clinton counties. That initial resettlement period, which is the RMP program, is the first 90 days someone is in the country. And I'm going to hand this over to Veronica. My friend, you're muted.
I'm very sorry, it happens sometimes. Like Chelsea mentioned, our clients are eligible for our services from something like 3 months to up to 5 years. And why I'm mentioning 3 months? Because 90 days is initial resettlement period for all refugees coming to the country. And during this very short term, our case managers and other staff are able to provide core services required by the federal government, because again, we have the contract with the federal government. We have to check all the boxes. And we start preparing for the arrival ahead of time when we just receive the first notice of arrival. We have a wonderful housing team who works with Lansing landlords and are able to find houses or apartments based on how many people in the family, what their special needs might be. Before the arrival, our wonderful facilities set the houses and apartments with furniture, with some household stuff that our clients will need in this initial period. And we are very proud to say that the majority of those items are provided by the most generous Lansing community. The furniture, sofas, tables, chairs, they are all donated to us, and we are able to set the houses with this furniture. But we are always in need. We are constantly asking for more, because we know that many more people are coming and their houses have to be set with some furniture. The case manager is assigned to the case to coordinate all the services that will be provided to the family or to the individual. This case manager goes and welcomes the family when they arrive at the Lansing airport. If the case manager doesn't speak the language of the family, they always have an interpreter or other staff member who will be able to communicate with the family in their own language. After the family arrives and taken to their new house, case manager works closely with the case for next 90 days. During those 90 days, they have to provide a lot of orientations because we want our clients to be educated about what life in America is, how finances work here in America, how to benefit from using the mobile devices, how to start looking for a job, how to navigate the healthcare in America. We understand that it can be so different from what they're used to. That's why we provide tons of orientations during the first 90 days. If the families have kids, those kids are immediately referred to school, and we help with school enrollments. Case managers and other staff help with necessary documentation, with Michigan IDs, with social security cards, with employment authorization cards, and whatnot. If the family is eligible for some benefits, case managers also help and assist our clients to apply for that. Of course, we support our clients with transportation, with language support. We immediately refer them to English for speakers of other languages classes, and currently we have 3 levels for our clients: those who don't speak English at all, zero English, for those who speak some English but need improvement. And we also have an advanced group for those who speak very good English but probably want to improve it to be able to get back to school, to be certified for some professions if they're coming from professional backgrounds. We also have some community partners, and we try to connect our clients to those community partners immediately because we do provide a lot of services. But for example, lots of our clients might need a bicycle, and we work with a nonprofit that helps them obtain used bicycles, but in good working condition. It's just one of the examples. We work with many organizations. And we also have a fantastic team of volunteers who help and support our clients and help them to be better integrated into society. Our volunteers serve in various roles. Most of them are family or individual mentors, and they stay with the family for 3, 4, sometimes if needed 5 months, and teach them about how to do things, how to do some things that are self-evident for Americans, but very difficult for those who arrived in this new country. Things like, going to the pharmacy and purchasing the right over-the-counter medications, and many, many, many more examples. Of course, 3 months is a very short term, but luckily enough, we have lots of other programs and provide lots of wraparound services that can last for several months or even up to 5 years. We have a wonderful employment team that connects our clients to employers, helps them in their job search process, assists them during the interview, during orientations. And those services can be provided for up to 5 years. It doesn't mean they will be assisting clients for the duration of those 5 years. They probably will find them the first job. Not perfect job, not the job they were dreaming about, probably. But let's say in 2 years, the client feels they speak better English, they obtain some skills, they can always come to our office, reapply for services, and our employment team will work with them on job upgrade. Some other programs help other categories of population. We have a wonderful Referred Communities program that works with people who face essential barriers. Let's say they have some illnesses. They might have some other programs, and they help them with medical services and social adjustments. And this program can last for 6 months, for 1 year. And if necessary, if the situation is really serious, they can be re-enrolled in this program and again served up to 5 years from their arrival. We also have more recent programs. Post-resettlement program is the program that helps clients with emergencies up to 5 years. All sorts of emergencies. Let's say the clients have conflict with their landlord, or they want to start taking English classes again after some years and maybe find a better paid job as a result of that. Maybe they want to take a computer literacy class, or maybe they want to purchase a house and want to be taught how to proceed with that. So post-resettlement case managers, and currently we have 2 case managers working in post-resettlements, can help with certain areas. And again, it's all for up to 5 years. And probably Julia will explain why it's up to 5 years. What changes after 5 years?
At the Immigration Law Clinic, we provide legal representation. We specialize in U.S. immigration law, and we have provided legal service to Michigan residents since 1997. We represent individuals who are seeking immigration benefits through U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USCIS. We are supported by grants and nominal fees. We focus on family-based immigration, naturalization, asylum, adjustment of status or getting a green card, travel documents, and humanitarian relief. The 5 years that Veronica just mentioned is that after 5 years of having a green card, many individuals become eligible to become a U.S. citizen through the naturalization process. And the Immigration Law Clinic is happy to assist them in that application and process. And in 2023, the Immigration Law Clinic provides services to 1,162 individuals, and we filed 825 new cases.
So when our clients arrive and we do the first orientation for them, I always mention, welcome to Lansing. You are very lucky to be new Lansing community members because you are in the most welcoming and refugee-friendly community in this country. We are really blessed by having support and assistance and help from all the community members. And very often, because my phone extension is on the website, my email is on the website, that's why I receive tons of emails and many phone calls. And one of the questions people ask is, how can I, or if it is representing the group, how can we help you and welcome people here in Lansing? And there are lots of ways. If you know somebody who has arrived in this country as a refugee, it's just, welcoming them by befriending them, inviting to a dinner, and just helping them to be better integrated into Lansing community. It is working with a refugee agency, and I will be talking about it in details a little bit later. It's about advocacy. We do lots of advocacy events, and the nearest one is in June when we celebrate the World Refugee Awareness Day. It's a big day for our Lansing community. We work with dozens of our community partners. They all host some events to provide more information about certain areas of refugee resettlement. And we celebrate the employers that we work with. We celebrate other community partners, and we celebrate the most welcoming communities. I work with lots of students group at MSU, other colleges, and very often they invite us to talk in their events, but I also encourage them to organize their own events, educational session, to teachings, share experiences with refugee services, invite other people to be involved into that, because honestly, it's the most rewarding and it's the most meaningful experience you can get working with somebody from other country, learning about them, because it's not just our clients who learn from us. We learn a lot about their cultures, and we learn about their way of life. So these are multiple opportunities to help refugees. And if we can go to the next slide. So if somebody is interested to assist our organization, our program, our two programs, there are lots of ways to be involved. Volunteering. Right now we have more than 60 people on our volunteer list just for refugee services program. I don't know about other programs. And our volunteers help us in many respects. The most popular option is working as a family mentor. I already mentioned that, helping a family to learn more about America, to become self-sufficient, because our goal is not to support our clients indefinitely. Our goal is to bring them to the point when they are self-sufficient and can provide for themselves, can do things for themselves. So we don't ask our volunteers, for example, to take family shopping multiple times. No, instead of that, we ask them to take them shopping once or twice and explain how next time they will take a bus to get to the grocery store, how they will shop for groceries, how will they will find some deals, and also to help family maybe with English, especially kids, help family with other sorts of education. Some volunteers prefer not to help one family, one specific family, but to support some task. And right now we have several job descriptions for volunteers in various roles. We have uh, transporters just for employment. We have several volunteers who take our clients to the interview, take our clients to their first day orientation, and so on. We have several office volunteers. We have volunteers working with food bank and delivering food boxes to all the new arrivals. We have volunteers who transport clients to clothing closets, to food pantries, and we have the volunteer who right now starts English as for speakers of other languages classes with the Circle of Afghan Ladies. So, and we are working on developing some other roles. Another important area, and it works both ways. It's great for young people, young professionals who want to learn some skills, who want to learn something about our program. And it supports and helps our staff. So we have interns working with us for 3 semesters. It's a fall semester, spring semester, and summer semester. Just today, I started 2 wonderful interns. And it's an opportunity for students of all majors. We don't restrict it because, we can work with everybody and they can help us provide better services. We can work with groups that are willing to do some collections for us. I always have some ideas about what our needs are. At some point, I will say, we really need to have a collection of men's socks because our new arrivals are coming and they are freezing, especially in winter. And I have tons of socks for kids, but right now I don't have any for men. Or at some other point, I will say, right now we have diapers for all sizes, but you know what? I don't have diapers for the new babies. So we definitely need a diaper size 1. So anybody who represents a group can always contact me and I will come up with some idea what people can collect to support our clients and to help them feel our welcome. And of course, Chelsea mentioned we are nonprofit and we need financial contributions. They help us because it's not a secret. The budget that is attached to our clients' cases is how to say, I'm just looking for the right word. It's
It is
scarce.
minimal. It is minimal.
It is
Yep.
minimal, of course. And of course, people who decide what budget to attach to the case, they count on us being nonprofit and counting on the generosity of community that will help to provide better for our clients. And we do need sometimes emergency funding, because sometimes things happen in people's life. We found the job for our client, and then unexpectedly the father got sick, or they were laid off, and they just don't have money to pay their rent, their utilities. They are starving. So we have some emergency fund due to generous donations, and people can always donate to the agency to directly support refugees. So whenever people donate money, cash to us, in memo line, they can mention that this is donation to support immigration law clinic, or to support refugee services, or they can even target some very specific area. I have a group that works with us, and they send us cash saying this cash is just for purchasing footwear for new clients who arrive in winter. The other group donated us money and said, this is a donation to support newborn babies, to purchase car seats, to purchase pack and plates. So, and again, we can always come up with ideas, and we can always be transparent and let people know how we spend your money.
Thank you. Thank you, Veronica. And yes, I want to underscore, Veronica, we're a transparent department ourselves in ILC. So questions, any questions from our lovely our folks on the call? We have about 24, 25 minutes for questions if there are any. I see Joanna. Joanna, I am going to allow you to have your mic, and you should be able to unmute yourself.
There you go. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
So I was wondering, is there like a cheat sheet where it has like the different organizations and the different numbers to call, or different locations? So like if we put it in our community binder, somebody can quickly see, oh, this is immigration services for refugees. This one is for citizenship, and so on and so on.
So I'm happy to shoot you an email in regards to that. For within the Lansing community, and we serve Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton counties, and 50-mile radius around the office for refugee services, that is. And that is, we are a social service agency. And so we do have some requirements around immigration status because we are funded by the federal government. But we are happy to provide phone numbers and how you can get in contact with myself or Veronica. So I'll shoot that in the chat right now. But Julia, do you want to answer in regards to Immigration Law Clinic?
The Law Clinic, like I previously stated, we do serve people throughout the state of Michigan, and I can put our phone number and extension in the chat as well. Anyone is welcome to reach out to us to see if it's a case that our office is able to take on. We have an intake process that we do with potential clients, and then attorneys assess from there. But everyone is welcome to call our office and see if it's something we can assist with.
Thank you so much, Joanna. Other questions?
You're muted, Chelsea.
You're muted. Thank you. Yes, Shireen, I'm going to allow your mic. And you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this. And you guys have grown a lot in the last year or so. And so I was wondering, with all the growth and just a lot of really great visioning. What are you finding encouraging about the changes that have been occurring, and what do you see playing out in the populations in the community?
Yeah, that's a lovely question. I'll answer from my perspective, but Veronica and Julia, please also answer. One thing that I am very encouraged by is particularly the growth within our Office of Global Michigan at the state level, and the real investment into our growing immigration population within Michigan. Myself, I've worked in the refugee resettlement sphere in many different locations, in Nashville and New Orleans, and volunteered in Baltimore. And Michigan and Lansing, I really underscore, Veronica, Lansing is one of the most generous and inclusive and welcoming communities I've had the pleasure of working within, but also living within. So that's really, really enheartening, and gets me up in the morning. But I would also say the deeper focus on the wraparound services, and the varying pathways, and creative processes that are being considered, to find durable solutions to folks' safety, particularly with United for Ukraine and the very quick mobilization to sponsor Ukrainian refugees fleeing the war in Ukraine. That was our administration responding to a very immediate humanitarian need. So that is a really lovely thing to see, as well as the CHNV program, which is another sponsorship program for Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans to find safer pathways to be sponsored. So I find both of those very life-giving. So, Veronica.
I also wanted to add to that one of the most promising trends that I see in our community, because I work with community mostly, not with the clients, is we more and more we work in sync with other community partners, with other service providers, and it is due to perfect coordination of those community partners, due to the wonderful work of IRRC, which is Immigrants and Refugee Resource Collaborative, that brings all the community partners together and helps them coordinate between them, not working isolated, not being just on themselves, but coordinating and checking with each other, and in many cases avoiding duplication in those services.
Thanks for all the good work you guys do.
Julia, do you have anything to add, something that changes in the last few years that has really brought life to your position and what you do?
Really, it kind of ties in with refugee services and the work that your department does. We've seen an increase in numbers in people who are being resettled, which in turn means that a lot of new clients are coming into the law clinic, and we're able to serve a larger community and grow our staff to be able to serve everybody.
We've been putting some information in the chat, but our last slide as well is our website and email addresses and phone numbers. So do feel free to take that information from the chat. But any additional questions, and thank you, Shireen and Joanne, for those, for sure. Going once, going twice. All right, well then I will move it on to our next and final slide, which is my contact information, my email address. I'm always happy to talk to anyone within the community. We do respond to our calls, so if you call Veronica or I or the agency, it gets routed to Veronica and I, and we return those phone calls usually within 24 hours, as long as it's not a long holiday. But feel free to reach out to myself or Veronica. We're always here to help connect folks within refugee services. But then Julia, the Immigration Law Clinic, how they can get a hold of y'all.
Best way to get a hold of us at the Immigration Law Clinic is to call the phone number on the screen using that extension 1800. We have a front desk staff who will answer the phone, take down information from anyone who is looking for services, and then we'll pass it along to the attorneys to determine whether or not we can offer an appointment or if it's something that we can offer assistance with, and then we'll return calls. If you leave us a message, again, we try our very best to return that call within 24 hours, unless it's a weekend or holiday weekend, something like that.
Thank you, everyone, for taking time to join us this afternoon for this webinar. It's really our attempts at making sure we're connecting to the community and meeting any questions that might be out there. And so, John, again, thank you for your services, and thank you for the time given. 100%, we appreciate the time that you all give to learn more and engage in this process. So I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. It is warm out there, so drink your water and enjoy the beautiful sun. So thank you. Bye.